Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phay, and welcome to the channel. So, at what age is it appropriate to tell my dog that he's adopted? Today, we're taking a look at Speakeasy. Now, this is designed by Vital Lacerda and published by Eagle-Gryphon Games. Speakeasy from Eagle-Gryphon Games is a 1 to 4 player game where you're basically running as a mob boss trying to manage your speakeasy business during the Prohibition era in Manhattan. All right, now there's the docks district, there's the middle district, there's the upper district. I think those are the three. But you're putting speakeasies in each one of those. You're trying to run them. You're trying to avoid mob wars from the other mobs coming in and take over your business. You're trying to avoid the cops coming in and closing you down. There is a ton going on in this game. So let me give you a brief overview of how the game plays, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, folks, there is a ton going on in this game. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you some highlights. There's some really great rules videos on how to play the game and a lot of instructional videos. I just want to give you some highlights so you kind of have a little understanding of what's going on for my final thoughts. So maybe some of those make a little more sense. Okay, but the game is basically set up into 4 different acts. All right, in the first act, you're going to have 4 capos. In the second and third act, you're going to have 3 capos. In the fourth act, you're going to have 1 capo. All right, the very first thing you're going to do in every act, you're going to return your capos except for Act 1 because you haven't played them yet. All right, but once you play your capos out on your turns, and then, well, you return them. Okay, so now we're going to go into the player turn order. So you look at the turn order track, and based on whatever that order is, that's how you're going to go. And you're going to play one of your capos. You're going to play one of your capos to one of the people up in the upper left-hand corner of the board, and you're going to take the actions associated underneath that particular character. Okay, now everyone, there's a bunch of icons in this game. The icons are actually really self-explanatory, and once you've played for just a few rounds, it actually becomes a lot easier and a lot pretty self-explanatory in how they all function. Okay, so the icons, they may be daunting at first, but trust me, they get a way easier in this game than others. Okay, but basically what you're going to do is you're going to figure out which one of your capos is going to go to which one of the person, and you're going to take the action that's directly right below them, whatever that icon is. Okay, if they're separated by a solid bar, you only get to take the one that's right below them. If it's separated by a big box that kind of spans the whole thing, then you get to do that one. Whether no matter who you go to, you get to do that one. Sometimes you'll see a dashed little line. That's an and or, which means you can do the actions on both sides of those in any order you want. You can do one or both of them or all of them. Okay. And anything you see with the little red slashes, it's this or this or this. Okay. You got it. Okay. But basically what you're going to do, so you're just going to put your capo up there. You're going to take the action of that. All right. Now, some of the places are going to make it easier. So, or you're going to have to go there if you want to try to get new speakeasies on the board. If you want to try to get new casinos on the board, there's the docks. You have to go to the docks, for example, if you want to try to attack some of the fleets to try to get some of the crates. You need to go to the garage if you want to try to move your trucks around and place some cars. I'm going to cover all the card play here in a minute. Okay, but you got to move your trucks around to be able to deliver all your goods. You also need to go to the docks because you want to play your stills cards because you need to be able to produce. Okay, if you have stills on the board and they're not producing, well, then you're not delivering, and then of course you're not selling, and you're not making any money. Okay. The one really cool one is the park. The park you can go to, and that allows you to basically swap places with somebody else. So if somebody's got a spot, they've taken your spot, you can go to the park, okay, and you get to swap places with them. Now you get to take whatever action it is, as if you went and saw that particular person. But the benefit the other person is going to get is they're either going to get a leverage token, a city tile, or they're going to be able to gain a book. Okay, so they do get something even though you swapped with them. You're helping them out just a little bit. Okay. The restaurant is the other one that you got to be really careful of, because a restaurant, in order to go to the restaurant, you have to have a card in hand, and you have to be able to discard it. Okay, and not the helper cards either, but you have to be able to discard a card. If you cannot discard a card, you cannot go to the restaurant. But once you discard that card, then you're going to take your turn order token and you're going to slide it down to the bottom row, which is actually going to allow all of the casinos to score and then to pay out this particular round. Okay, but you determine what you want to go to, okay, or what position you want to be. Now there is one that makes you discard a card. If you don't have a second card, you can't go to that location. Okay, so pay attention to that. But then you get to take the actions down below in the restaurant, which is either play a couple cards, gain a couple city tiles, or play a couple city tiles, or you can cook up to 3 books. And I'll cover cooking books, I think, a little bit later. All right. The city hall is a nice place because it's going to allow you to be able to hire more family members or hire more goons. But down below, it's going to allow you to be able to put some of your family members maybe out with your speakeasies or your casinos or nightclubs to protect them in case the cops are around. But it also may allow you to be able to play, your VIP card. Okay. All right. But anyways, that's what you're basically going to do. And before you even do your capital action, the one thing I did forget is you do have a helper card. If you have helper cards in your hand, you can actually play one helper card first, play the helper card, get the bonus for what it was, and then put it behind your board. It may get you some extra money at the end of the game, or not behind your board, in your safe. Okay. It might get you some extra money later. But in a nutshell, that's basically what you're doing. Go to those different locations. And then the next player is going to go. They're going to play a helper card if they have one, right? And then they're going to put their cap on a location, and they're going to do their action, whatever it may be, moving trucks, or producing, playing cards, or however. Okay. Now, let me cover card play real fast. Card play is really, really cool because you have 4 locations on your board. Okay. Your player board, and each one of those locations is designed for a certain type of a card. Okay. You have like your VIP card, for example, which is going to be on the left-hand side. Now, when you play a card, what you're going to notice is you're going to notice in the upper left-hand corner, there's going to be 2 different bars. And you saw this from, of course, setting up the game, or 2 different boxes separated by a little slash. All right, you're going to be able to gain the benefit of the top one, but you can be able to do the bottom action if you want to. Okay. And then once you've completed both those, you slide the car in, and then what it's going to have is it's going to have like a little leverage icon. Now that leverage icon is important because if you want to put a family member in front of your speakeasies or something like that, depending on where you're at in the player order track, depends on how many points you need to have. So if you have a bunch of cards out, they're going to give you like 4, 5, or 6 points. Okay, you're usually good to go. If you don't, you may have to spend leverage tokens to get your total up high enough to get your family members out there. All right. But the cool thing about the cards and the card play is that leverage that they're going to give you, but it's also going to give you that the benefit. And you need to be able to play those cards because you need the steals to be able to produce. You need to be able to move your trucks around without necessarily just having the icon based on who you go see it, let's say the garage, for example, or whatever it might be. Okay. But that's basically it. Once everybody's done and everybody's capos are out on the board, okay, and everybody's played all of their capos, then we're going to go to the Lucky Luciano phase. Now, during this phase, you're going to start off, you're going to do the mob war. Now, based on during this setup, okay, and after every round, you're going to be putting little mob tokens out there, little red people, little red tokens with little sketch of an outline body on it. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take the next stack of mobsters. We started off with A's on the board. Now we're going to take the B's. You're going to look at the mobster. You're going to flip over the token, and whatever district that is, that's where that mobster is going to go. Okay. And you're going to replace that red token with the strength level of him. Okay. Now, the important thing to note about that is wherever those red tokens are, you know a mobster is going to go. So if a mobster is going to show up in your location and you're trying to build a speakeasy there, then you know for a fact that he is going to instantly attack it. But the problem is you don't know how strong he's going to be. Okay. So if he shows up in your area, now you have to combat him. Now, in order to combat him, you're going to look at your operations board. You're going to look at your board. You're going to look at what your strength is. Okay. And you're going to have to take that strength plus any goons, and you might be able to hire a boss if you have him, and you might be able to pay him to help you out, but you have to beat that mobster strength. And you have to do that for every speakeasy, casino, nightclub, or whatever you have in the board. If you cannot defeat that, then of course those are removed from the game, and he's still going to come out there and he's going to put his little speakeasies. All right, once you're done with that, then you're going to take the next stack of tokens and you're going to flip them over, see what districts are going to go in, so we know where the bosses are going to come, and then we're going to filter those on the board. Now we're going to go to the cops. Cops are now going to patrol Manhattan. You're going to look at all the tokens on the board. You're going to remove the token. You're going to replace it with a cop figure. You can take the next stack of cops, look at the bottom, see what the numbers are, and you're going to see where the cops are going to go. Eventually, every district in Manhattan is going to be covered with cops and or mobsters. Okay, so you always know where they're at. Once that's done, now you're going to do the zone payout. You're going to see who has the highest strength. Now there's this hierarchy chart in the book that kind of says, hey, if you have, especially if you have a family member out front, this is what the hierarchy is. Whoever has, the building in that particular district is going to win that district. And you're just basically moving your tile up. And you always start at the bottom in every act. At the end of every act, you're moving it up. And then whoever has the highest is going to get that much money, but that money is going to go into your safe. Okay. Now, the thing that's important to note about the safes is if you ever need to use money, you have your pocket money, but if you ever need to use money from the safe, you always have to launder it first, so you're always using it at a 2-to-1 cost. So if you need to do something that costs 10 money, you don't have any money, it's all in your safe, well, it's going to cost you 20 money from your safe to be able to do that action. Sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes you need to do that because it's going to generate you more money in the long run. Okay. But you're going to do that for every one of the districts. You're going to figure out who has the higher on that. And once you're done with all that phase, now you're going to go to the next act. You're going to start the next act, return all your capos, okay, and continue on. Now you're going to keep doing this until you've completed all 4 acts. Once all 4 acts are done, okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to go to the final scoring round, which is Act 4, and you're basically looking at all of the money that's in your, all the cash you have, all the safe money you have, your operating buildings. So there's a little chart that says, hey, if whatever buildings are operating, and operating means if there's a cop there, you have to have a family member standing outside of your building in order for it to be operating, or it's not operating. So if it's operating, you're going to get the money for that. Okay. If you have any unique helper cards, the bottles, okay, so you're looking at the bottles that are on your helper cards that are inside your vault, and you're going to get the money in your safe for that. Add up all your money and everything else, and whoever ends up having the most money wins. Speakeasy. Okay, folks, that was a super high level, kind of how to play the game. Just kind of talking about some of the different features of the game, because my final thoughts is actually going to cover the stuff that I really want to talk about mostly, because I want to go into a little more detail on it. Okay. So one of the things I want to talk about is the player boards. I absolutely love the player boards in this game. Okay. The cool thing about it is on the player boards, you have all of your speakeasies, you have your casinos, you have your nightclubs. Whenever you put them out on the board, okay, you're going to notice a little icon underneath them, except for the casinos. Okay. You're going to do the action of whatever that icon is. Okay. So, it's important to pay attention to how you get them out there, which ones you take out there. Now, when it comes to your speakeasies, you're going to notice they're in groups of 3, except for the middle one's going to have 2 speakeasies and it's going to have a still. Okay. Once all 3 of those are out and that one's empty, you're now going to start being able to get bonuses if you go to, say, do an upgrade from a speakeasy to a casino or something like that, because you've completed that bank. Okay, so it's kind of nice to get those out, but then again, you may want to just kind of spread it around. It all depends on what you need to do, and some of those places and some of those speakeasies are going to give you the benefits that you need. Okay, now on top of that, the other cool thing that I really like is I like the operations and the strength. Okay, so the cool thing is all over the board and on some different cards, you're going to be able to move up your operations level on different tracks. Okay. A lot of times it's like, hey, just pick a track and move it up. Okay. Some it's going to be maybe this track. Okay. But as you move those up, that's going to make it so that it's better in one way, shape, form, or another. Okay. So like your VIP section, if you the higher up your VIP section goes, now then you're going to be able to have more family members, okay, that are going to be available to be able to put out in front of your speakeasies, etc. Now, all of those tracks also take note that in order to go to the highest level, you also have to discard a card. That may be a cost as well. So pay attention to those as well. Okay. The next one over is your party one. Okay. So the party one is basically it's how I believe it's not how much you can, it's how much you can sell. Okay. So how many different bottles of stuff can you sell per turn? Then you're going to have the stills one, which is basically how much you're going to be able to produce every turn. Okay. The party one may also be delivery too. I kind of get these backwards. There's a lot going on in this game. All right. And then the 4th track, which absolutely is, the 4th track is your delivery. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so you have your protection. Okay, you got your VIPs, then you have your production, then you're going to have your selling your barrels, which is party, and then you're going to have your delivery. Okay, and also on the delivery, it tells you how far that your trucks can move. Now, the other thing you have is you also have your operation or your strength. Okay. The strength is what you really, really need when you have to do battle, because you're going to be looking at that number and you're going to be adding goons to that number, and you may be adding a boss that you've hired to that number as well when you have to do different combats. Okay. Now, the one combat where it's a little bit different is if you're actually combating the boats, because the boats, what you get to do is you get to take however many dock workers are in that location, and you get to multiply that by whatever your strength is. And you can even use your goons, or you can as well, so that you can actually try to defeat that. Once you defeat whatever the strength is on a particular boat, then of course you're going to gain the tile. The tile is going to give you like a payout or something. It's going to get you a barrel. They're going to get stronger. Okay, but now you're going to have this tile that's going to give you a benefit. Maybe your stills produce an additional bottle every time you do that activity, or what it may be. Okay, but I actually love that. And then all 5 of those are going to go to the infamy track. Now, the infamy track, the cool thing about that is that you can always figure out what your level should be on that, because it should be however high you've raised those 5 stats. Okay. Now there's 2 more family members that you're going to gain by going to certain levels, but also based on the level you're at, that tells you how much you're going to be able to sell and your whiskey and stuff for. Okay. So the higher up you go on that, the better you're going to get. It's also going to open up some other areas. So when you do cookbook action, you're going to have places to put your books as well. All right. But that's basically it. And then the cards. By slotting the cards, and then of course you're going to get the benefit for those because you have to have a certain strength. And some of the cards don't give you anything. Some give you 1, maybe they give you a 2. But you're looking at those strength because when you put your family member out based on your turn order, you have to be able to meet that number. So sometimes you have to play the tokens just to get it up for that one particular family member. Okay, but it's actually really cool. Absolutely love it. All right. Now the districts. I like how you have the 3. So what does it have? Your lower Manhattan, your middle Manhattan, and your upper Manhattan. Okay, lower Manhattan I always call the docks for some reason, but it's lower Manhattan. Okay. Now, the one thing about it is when the game is originally seeded, okay, you have your different mobs that are on their track, okay, you have their strength tiles out and their speakeasy are going to be all over the board. And you know that all the other districts are eventually going to get mobs. At some point in time, they're going to get mobs, but you already know which district's coming next, okay? So if you want to build into those districts, you got to be careful of those mobs, all right? Now, one of the things about this game that I think is really, really cool is you can build into those really, really easy. Just throw them down there, but you may have to deal with mob wars later on, okay? Or what you can do is try build up your strength a little bit and then just go take over their speakeasies. Because you know, once you can take them over and you're strong enough to take them over, all right, well then you're good to go, okay? You don't have to worry about the mobs coming back in. The only thing you'd have to worry about is the cops, but if you get a family member outside, they're gonna protect it for you, okay? So that way it's always gonna stay operational. But if you go into an area that doesn't already have a mob, now you have to worry about them coming in. If you have a height of strength, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, but take note that the initial ones that come out, their strength's like maybe 3 and 4. But when you start getting to Act 4, the guys that are coming out, man, their strength is like 10 and 12. So they're really hard to defend. But hopefully by then your operations or your strength's up and you got a really good boss that's out there. Okay. So yeah, so getting into the speakeasies, casinos, and everything into those different districts is critical. Sometimes it's easier just to take over the lower ones. Sometimes you just want to go ahead and just open some up, knowing that they may go away and you may have to reopen some more later on. But by having the majority of districts or speakeasies in different districts in the different sections is going to get you more money. Okay, the more money you can get in your safe, the more you're going to be able to have that you might be able to launder and be able to spend later, or that's just going to get you there for end game. Okay, very good stuff. The other thing is the cookbooks. I absolutely love the cookbook section because all over the board in each one of the districts, there's going to be random tiles that come out. It's going to say, hey, you meet this criteria, you can cook your books. The docks, do you have any crate tiles? Okay, or whatever. You know, you can cook books up there. The infamy track, you can cook books in different sections over there, and those may give you. And every time you cook books, it may give you benefits to where you can move up some of your operating stats a little bit more. There's Central Park. Okay, the cool thing about Central Park is it's got was it 2 4 I think it's 5 different tiles out there in Central Park that those are also places you can cook books that are going to help you get different benefits and everything else. Okay, very cool stuff, and I absolutely love those goals that you're kind of competing for and trying to get at the same time as well. Okay, really cool, really neat. All right, absolutely love the gameplay of this. And the last thing I just want to touch on is the quality of this game. Oh my gosh, the quality of this game is utterly amazing. The dual layer player boards and the fact that you're slotting cards and it's covering up everything except for what you just need to see. Okay. And then if you want to put a new card in, you just slide that one out, slide a new card in. It has little places in for it, you know, a little picture to kind of tell you what the little location is. You put your little whiskey bottles, your little barrels down in the one section over there. All the buildings on the bottom of the track, they all have little slots that they're going to fit into. All your people, your capos, your family members. Oh man, the production quality, and then the insert itself, everything just fits in here so nice. It's just top notch production. Absolutely loved the production of this game. Okay, so Speakeasy. I like Lacerda games. I have a ton. I think I have almost all of his games. Okay, they're heavy and they are really detailed and everything else. But I'll tell you what, once you get past that learning curve, okay, and this one took a bit of a learning curve for me. It took me a little while before I can really figure this one out. But once you get past that learning curve and really truly understand how the game plays, it is like a well-tuned machine. These games, they are smooth and they flow and they really make sense. And that's one of the things I really like about Speakeasy and even Lacerda games in general is once you truly understand them and once you truly know how to play them, the game flow is just, like I said, it's smooth. Absolutely fantastic. Out of all the Lacerda games that I've played so far, right now, I think this is probably my favorite one. I absolutely love the mechanics. I love the fact that you know what cops and mob bosses are going to be coming out. You know where they're going to be coming out, so you kind of have to be careful of those. But then again, you want to take over the empty districts. Can you protect them? What do you have to do? Can you cook your books? Can you do different things to be able to get the points, the money, everything that you need in this game? Oh my gosh, this game is fantastic. I love playing this game. It is so much fun to play. Like I said, it's a bit of a learning curve, but man, if you do not mind that learning curve and you like a great puzzly worker placement game, I cannot recommend Speakeasy enough. Well, thank you once again for joining me today. As always, I please ask you to like this video on YouTube, Board Game Geek, Facebook, or even on X. Please leave me a comment on any one of those platforms, and I'll get to those comments just as soon as I can. And also, folks, if you like the videos I do here, if you haven't done so already, I humbly ask you to click on that subscription button and even click on that bell and be notified when I drop new videos. And also, if you like the videos I do here, I also post videos over on the Discriminating Gamers channel. Over there, we'll do some reviews, unboxings, and playthroughs. I'll leave a link to Cody's channel down in the details below. You know, well, you know you're ugly when you go to take a group picture and they hand you the camera.